processor, which has been churning out the same policy. It indicates that the diplomatic wheels are now turning. My concern is that they're turning fast enough to prevent the real disaster that we all fear, and actually to move things on to the election, which everybody agrees about. All parties agree that it can only be settled by a properly supervised election, and the Cambodian people must choose. It's between now and then that we're having to try and sort out all the incipient geopolitical problems, the anti-Vietnamese problems of both America and China, in the interest of the Cambodian people. They're the people who concern me.
But the Foreign Secretary, in his reply, in effect said that Britain backs the whole idea of this interim administration having the Khmer Rouge in it. I mean, this is the real stumbling block, isn't it?
Well, this is the stumbling block, and this is the policy of ASEAN, and of course, as we've seen again, the United Nations, though there's been an awful lot of caveats issued as to whether they really believe it. But the bottom line is that Hun Sen has said to me that he cannot deliver a quadripartite interim government with the Khmer Rouge in it in their own right.
Tonight I have with me in the studio Anne Cleward, Shadow Minister of Overseas Development, recently returned from Cambodia, Dr. Peter Carey of Trinity College, Oxford, with wide experience in Southeast Asian affairs, and Brian Walker, Director of Oxfam at the time of the Cambodia emergency 10 years ago, and now Director of Earthwatch. Brian Walker, have we got it all wrong about applying morality to geopolitics? I mean, should we just say this is really all realpolitik? It has nothing to do with us.
Well, the realpolitik is what is happening to people and their families and their lives on the ground. What is wrong is not the morality, but the absence of morality. It is the failure of the diplomatic system and the political system to secure anything like a reasonable settlement over 10 years, and the way in which our politicians are hiding behind moral phrases, but doing nothing on the ground which advances the moral cause, which is, how do we help the Cambodian people to stand on their own feet, and how do we withdraw support from the Khmer Rouge? And those are the two issues which really matter, and fundamentally they are a moral issue.
Peter Carey, of course, the diplomats would say that morality is quite impractical in a situation like this. There are subtleties that we have to take into consideration. What would you say to them?
I mean, I think this is nonsense, that if one has the Khmer Rouge back in power, you have a completely chaotic situation in Cambodia, a situation which would probably lead Cambodia to become a Lebanon of Southeast Asia. I mean, I've been very struck by the fact that wherever I've talked, whoever I've talked to, there has been a very clear-cut response of incomprehension that the Khmer Rouge could even be considered